Welcome back to Let's Play Phoenix Wright, Rise from the Ashes. Ace Attorney. I'm Luigi Fan 64D, and, sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Huh, don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope it's not interrupting anything, pals! Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later. Oh, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And top it off, you call me here. Seen half of your people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you running errands again? Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give you this to tell you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. I'm sure you know the 2 rules of evidence law, don't you, Wright? Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Could at least study some evidence law, really? The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said, if you're planning to take him on, you're gonna need this book. Him? I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. I securely slipped it in my pocket? What? Doesn't look like this book will do any good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting on the prosecutor's seat? Despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you are unaware of. And when Skye found out she unwittingly, I'm pretty sure they means unwillingly, but unwittingly caused a man's death. And now you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal! You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. Huh? She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're going and exposing, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Him and bring the case and this case and the last case too. Let's do it, Edgeworth. The court will now reconvene at the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor? The inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls for the witness. But, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that Mr. Edgeworth may have struck a bargain. Huh? You think I may have manipulated the witnesses? I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone's been talking and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? But there's never been a case example. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright, you do realize that this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls... This time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. Damon Gant! The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What do you have to do? What does he have to do with anything? As the defendant partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also have been least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. All right, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation! So, you want to play oddball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Mr. Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, Wrighto! What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean the time when Lana's sister murdered the prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. No. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh? Like what? Like the role you played in all this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure. Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well, the witness may now begin his testimony. The SL9 incident? As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. Let's do it now. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Dark and made him run away like that. Was the defendant Lana Skye also present in the room? I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it. To make a long story short, we slipped up. The power outage didn't help either. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs, I guess you could say. He got lucky. What's this about a power outage? Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden, and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil was when that knife went through his heart, though. That's not funny. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in the heap of the floor, all tangled up. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor. Yes, apparently he hit his head and knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls, Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in their arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. How can you know that? Because of the victim's body, it had already been moved. So that means you found the body near Lana's desk. That's right. I think you said earlier it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor. Yeah, yes. Anyway, as you can see, I have nothing to do with this forgery. Well then, how are you going to explain this? If you really had nothing to do with the forgery, then how do you explain this? What's that? What's that on it? A handprint? Chief Gant, your explanation, please! I don't know. You tell me, son. Huh? My dear Wrighto, don't you know the second rule of evidence law? Uh-oh, not this again. Evidence law. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case in trial. Tell me, how is this rag relevant to this trial? It appears the defense was not prepared. I guess it's too early to use this piece of evidence. Please accept my profound apologies, Chief. Would you mind giving the defense another chance? Well, okay. I'll just do it just this once, but only because you asked, Dodgy. Thank you. I assure the defense is terribly sorry. Yeah, sorry I didn't nail you. Alright, yeah, what I wanted to, I guess, because he's bringing out that rule of evidence law on me. I should really look up on those. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. No unregistered evidence presented may be relevant to the case in trial. Alright. Fine. But then how does he explain this jar? You claim you have nothing to do with the forgery. No, but I'm afraid that claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example. That's the blue badge you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you played a part in this illegal investigation. Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Oh ho! Here's the defense attorney there who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then? That you were involved in the forgery? Who, me? What do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Oh, that's right. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Wrighto? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops even further, he'll end up paying to work. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and the relation to the forgery that took place in the crime scene. For those that don't know, the only reason why that worked is because evidence law number 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. With Detective Dick Gumshoe, being a detective at the time, he approved of it, so that counts. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. You want to know about this evidence and forgery business? Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when these pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Regarding rearranging a crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor? When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I'm Chief of Police, right? There will be consequences. Oh. Indeed, I believe I'll press charges, so you won't make the mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. Alright, Audrey. In return, though... I know. That place, right? Huh? What are these guys, telepathic? I guess they want to go... I guess they're going swimming. For all I know, you could have planted them in my room. Well... I'd appreciate it if you stopped making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped... Mr. Wright! What are you saying? Anyway... What on earth, Mr. Wright? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry the evidence, can you? If you have any proof of the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when your fingerprints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe. They would prove investigation was illegal. I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. Anyway, you can't prove when the pieces were discovered. Well, no. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't be necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence found at the crime scene isn't forgery... I'm not through speaking yet, Mr. Wright. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. What? If you're saying this jar of fragments wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, they could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. Oh, wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The Chief is talking about a possibility, so long as you can't rule that out. Your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come on now, Mr. Wright. Think about it. There's no reason that I'd participate in a forgery. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Uh-huh. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not so sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Skye. Well, now do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you reaped from all this. Oh? I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would of course be the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh. The resolution of SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without the case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Ugh. Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Udgy, would you mind if I changed my testimony a little? By all means, please do so. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Really, that's a bold statement to say. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right. I don't feel sorry for anyone. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That was how I raised. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Oh yeah, there was. True, you might not help out anyone for their sake. But if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well, I'll ask. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? Lana. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye? The defendant? I believe it's quite obvious, in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would have more of a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all of this? He would be able to use chief prosecutor as a puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. What do you mean? Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh wait, you must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive? To appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she testified against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing if more than mere conjecture. Unless... that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor had been acting strange throughout the entire trial. Almost as if someone had been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, But the chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? 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 Order! 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 I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious! Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in a law enforcement agency! To accuse the chief of police in blackmail and murder? It's impossible! Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. Looks like he's the one who decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved with murder? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Show us the evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Just remember, it better be good. I need something that would tie him to the murder of Detective Goodman. Oh, wait a second. 777! 777. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7777777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean... No, I'm afraid so, Your Honor. Like, I'm not sure why... Well, the code is 7777777. The same as remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime! Order! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense search of my office was in violation of regulation. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the uses of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? And what about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant? I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met him with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? The trial's purpose is to determine Lana Skye's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. The trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met with the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. Alright, let's see. Something that would prove it. Something prove. Well, I have a... Oh, right! I nearly forgot about it. Take that! Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filed out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Yet you are in possession of that report. Which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it? How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective in the evidence room. I accompanied him? Yes. There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman? Yeah, exactly. But wait! The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of that sort. Sorry, but that's not possible. Huh? According to the record, your card was only used once. But you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. No! Man, he really gets angry. Chief Gant! You didn't! The murder was most likely committed in the spur of the moment. No one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why else? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body. However, the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department that entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed in the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue, just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this! This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body! A parking stop? Miles Edgeworth. You mean... The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car! You mean I carried the victim's body? Precisely so. But wait, even you know, I didn't plan on returning to my office after the ceremony finished that day. But you did return. Tell me why. I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep the screwdriver at the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the incident, I brought this to the prosecutor's office. So you see, what you really took to the prosecutor's office wasn't the screwdriver, but the victim's body in your trunk! Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car! Yes. Unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief? Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to carry evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. Order! 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 What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal in the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took of the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of a body being stuffed into the trunk and being taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It was a photo of a body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe... Your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Wrighto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. You have to We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet! Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? This is not the right to be casually invoked! There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I did, Lana? I had Lana dispose of the body. If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright, Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman, made Miss Skye dispose of his body. Do I have any concrete proof? Do I have anything that proves, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Chief Gant did this? It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. Huh. See, Aji? And that's the case. This court is forced to penalize you for your accusations against the chief. What? I don't gamble unless the stakes are high. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Aji, I'll leave the rest to you. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront of a senior officer on our nation's law. It says law twice. The game says law twice. On our nation's law enforcement agency. LOL. Huh? Lady Luck. Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth. Another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, there's only one method of proof and testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions. Raised in this trial, someone's right in this very room. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling the witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth. But we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth Lana Skye. The defendant? Miss Lana Skye? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 on February 21st. Her task? To dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in Hold on. Huh? Chief Gant! I thought you were going to eat! Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claim, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty from Neil Marshall's murder. This isn't good. Of course, you'd never support such an outrageous claim anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then. I've got a lunch date to meet. Okay. If there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. Almost nabbed him. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. The Chief. He's something else, eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe! I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. My office? Sure. I'll take the place of the top-knot girl you used to work with. Could he mean... Maya? Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again! How's he always supposed to get the upper... How is it he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair. He's always has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said? But Chief, this is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Risks? What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the Chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. So she's heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I've said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I always feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah. I finally know what really happened. I think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by this terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside. To force herself to do anything and everything the Chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with this forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall onto the armor. I see. Well, we'd better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait here? No! I'm going with you. Huh? I want to be there. When Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. Looks like things are wrapping up quite nicely. I'm Luigi Man 64D, and this was Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Rise from the Ashes. See you next time, where we learn the truth